Hello! Hello! Thank you! Thank you! Very good! Very good! Very good! Help me! Help me!
Well, hasn't it been some time since we used the man in the mirror? So, fairly recently, I took the time to remake my build copy based off the recent reverse engineering I've done of Dark Souls 3's item system. With that comes vast amounts of improvements, including the items actually showing in the UI properly. Because you guys probably have a lot of questions about this system, I'd like to take the time to explain it. So what exactly does the build copy do? It depends on what setup I do, but usually we'll have some logic to start copying the build and character of a player I encounter online. Usually, I would just have it set to target the first arena opponent or host of embers that appears in a session. Well, there can only be one host of embers, but whatever. If I am not the host of a session when it's trying to copy someone's build, it will withhold my online data until it first receives theirs. This is like going on as I'm on the loading screen. That way, it can copy face data, their name, and other attributes that may be unable to change once they load my character on their end. When it does receive the target's data, it will activate, overriding my own character with the data of theirs, including clearing my equipment and inventory. Don't worry about my character because it turns off autosave and saves my original equipment and character and restores it once I turn build copy off. While build copy is active, it will actively copy the exact weapons, armor, rings, arrows, bolts, and covenant that the player has equipped, and it will save these items in my own temporary inventory. I could have it set to not actively update the equipment and instead require me to swap the items as I go, but in this video I went with automatic swapping. Automatic swapping allows for jaw-dropping moments for the person being copied, but also gives the other person copied full control over my equipment, which they can and will use against me. However, you need at least 50 insight to discover this tactic. Consumables and spells appear in my inventory and get equipped progressively throughout the battle. This is because I have to wait for them to select or use the item before I even can. So that's why you may notice how suddenly I just get Ashen Estus the moment my opponent starts using it. It's also programmed to half my Estus as an invader and allocate more Ashen Estus if the copied build has higher attunement. I have to do it this way as there's no way on loading in to tell what consumables and spells my opponent has. So if a host actually has a different Estus allocation or Estus shard level, I simply cannot know. As for the emotes, I simply programmed it to read the emote animation of the person I'm copying, and set that emote in my first gesture slot, allowing me to identify when a player is about to do an emote, and then do the same exact emote back at them less than half a second after they did it. Okay, I think that explains the system for the most part. Feel free to ask more questions in the comments, but I think I'll immediately answer one I'm expecting to see a lot. Can I download this? Unfortunately, no. Even though this is just for fun and programmed in a way that tries to make it as fair as possible, it's still technically cheating in my book and must be used with great caution. Even though this would be a pretty stupid and ineffective way of trying to get an advantage over someone, I don't think it would be right of me to distribute something like this that can negatively affect the state of the games online. Even if most people intend to use it in good faith, these players can still end up causing harm. Lots of regular players would probably get sick of fighting the same couple of copycats in the same day. So I hope you all understand why this project cannot be made publicly available. An exception can be made for those I can trust to use it for a particular purpose, such as an experiment that requires multiple people to use this or something like that. Sorry to those who would want to try this, but it's just not worth the potential problems. I've said the same about my bosses in the past. Luckily, those might actually be made public in the form of a mod, with the caveat of online interaction being restricted to playing only with other users of the mod. Alright, with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's some other idea that you would think I could do with this. If you'd like to extra support me, you can subscribe to me on Patreon, and you'll get your very own character on this end screen.